Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Centers for Spiritual Living. Please stand and we'll sing our opening song, I Release, and the words are in your program.
I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, and I am one with God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, and I am one with God. There was a time in my life thought I had to do it all by myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. Didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you're discouraged, just try to make it through another day. Got to let it go, let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, and mine, I'm one with God. No more trouble, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, and I am one with God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, and I am one with God. Yeah.
What a wonderful way to open our service with a reminder of our oneness with God. Thank you, Bob, for anchoring us in that knowledge. I want to say good morning again and welcome to everyone who is here with us this morning. We're so glad that you have chosen to spend your Sunday morning with us today. I'm Jaron Nelson. I am a practitioner here at Centers for Spiritual Living, Sarasota, and I want to greet each of you with Namaste. Namaste is an ancient Sanskrit word that means the divinity in me greets and honors the divinity that is within each of you. Please do join us after the service's conclusion for some goodies and some refreshments, some drinks, and it's a nice opportunity to meet those that we haven't met before, those who are visiting with us, and to catch up with those that we already know. As you entered today, I'm sure you received a program from Dan, and on the very inside front cover, there is a declaration of what we are about here at Centers for Spiritual Living. And so I now invite you to take a look at that and read it aloud with me. We are a spiritual center that honors all paths to God. Ours is a positive message, inspiring our possibilities and offering spiritual tools for transforming our lives and helping to make the world a better place. Here we can find peace of mind, belonging to a spiritual home, and a personal relationship with the God of our understanding. We are here to discover what we already know. I want to extend a very special welcome to any first-time visitors we may have with us this morning. Thank you so much for being here with us this morning. I just hope that it enriches your lives and that you feel welcome. Here at Centers for Spiritual Living, we also partake in affirmative prayer. And really all that means is that if you have a situation that is presenting in your life that perhaps is causing you to be uncomfortable, stressed, or fearful, anything really that's going on in your life that is not of the essence of harmony, there are practitioners, as I mentioned, I am one of them, and we are honored to have a few moments with you, what we call miracle moments, after the service. And we stand in truth, regardless of what's going on in your life. And so I would invite anyone after the service. I will be standing at the back table, and you'll find me because of this. And I am more than happy to take a few moments to pray with you over whatever's going on in your life. So I invite you today to take advantage of that. There are some flyers in your program that I'd like to bring your attention to. One especially is a yellow flyer. It talks about a class that's going to be starting. It's called Quick Start. And I believe it's a 4-week-long class, but you can find all the details in there. And it's going to be offered in February, so you have a little bit of time to make a decision. You'll read the pamphlet over, but I just know that it will... though it's a short class, it's going to be jam-packed full of really life-enhancing information. So I invite you to take advantage of that as well. Now, if you would, I ask that you please take a moment and check to see that your cell phones are on silent or vibrate as we now head into our time of meditation. And Bob is going to lead us in a chant. God is, I am. Feel free to join in with Bob.
Right here, right now, right here, right now. God is, I am. God is, I am. Right.
What a great comfort that is. God is, I am. I know that my life, that all life is a life within the infinite and abundant one life of God by whatever name I choose to call it. I know that there is no good lacking in this one life. That is my life too. Right now, I acknowledge and I open to the possibility of my highest expression that is already within and bursting at the seams to come forth. The peace, the love, the joy, clarity, well-being, prosperity, understanding, perfect perspective, right action, and so much more is already who I am. It can seem that current life circumstances would dictate otherwise sometimes. But I know that neither the past nor my current circumstances can change the truth of my innate divine nature that completely matches the essence of the divine. So I persist in this knowing of the truth of my being. And I diligently persist in releasing anything that would dim, diminish, or in any way thwart the revealing of my highest self. I am divinely guided to the methodologies, people, thoughts, to anything and everything that allows the truth of my divinity to be unearthed. What I know to be true for myself, I know to be true for everyone in this room, for they too are individualized expressions of the divine. I now release these words of truth with gratitude and assurance. And so it is.
God is, I am right here, right now, right here, right now. God is, I am. God is, I am right here, right now, right here, right now. God is, I am.
And now Bob is going to anchor us in that, get that process of release going by singing a song, Hand It Over.
This is one of my favorite artists, Kev Mo, and he wrote this great song called Hand It Over. If your problems won't go away and you're worried night and day, hand it over to the Spirit every day. If you're sick, feeling low, got no money, got nowhere to go, hand it over to the Spirit every day. Now hand it over, give it up, give it over, hand it over to the Spirit every day. There ain't no mountain you can't climb, no answer you can't find. All you need is a hand to hold. It'll heal your body, feed your soul. If the road is dark and you can't find your way, let the Spirit light the way. Hand it over to the Spirit every day. You can sing it. Hand it over, and give it up, give it over, hand it over to the Spirit every day. Ain't no mountain you can climb, no answer you can't find. All you need is a hand to hold. It'll heal your body, If the road is dark and you can't find your way, let the Spirit light the way. Hand it over to the Spirit every day. Come on. Hand it over, and give it up, give it over. Hand it over to the Spirit every day. Come on down. Hand it over, give it up, give it over, hand it over to the Spirit every day.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Bob. Wow. He makes it sound so easy, doesn't he? Hand it over, whatever it is. Huh? Yeah, you did. You all made it sound so easy. Let's see, I want to put that there. Yeah, hand it over where? Well, give it up to Spirit every day, as the song says. And that's the beautiful message of everything I'm going to be saying today is that you are not alone. I am not alone. So when we think about making changes in our life and handing it over, whatever it is we wish to release or change, the good news is we're not alone. There's something that does kick in and help us and support us. So today we're looking at again the truth that every now and then it's time to make room for the new, and at this pivotal time, of course, going to a new year is a great time to give that some serious thought. You know, life is always making all things new, but our attachments to the old can really obscure, not only stop, but obscure our even awareness of that newness that Spirit is offering us all the time. Spirit is never about dragging up the old stuff and saying, oh, recycle one more time of that old problem, that old drama. That's not the way life is. But we don't always see that newness. So today we're going to have a little bit of a ceremony later on, relaxed and thoughtful and sacred reflection on how we can clear the clutter, our inner clutter of our old stories, the things that no longer serve us. See, here's a great affirmation for you. Principle is not bound by precedent, and neither am I. That means that the truth of my newness is not held back by whatever happened even 5 minutes ago. That's the way life works. Principle is not bound by precedent, and neither am I. So, I begin this new year by setting my intentions with confidence and delight, knowing that I cannot and I don't have to do this alone, because God as me, in me, continually makes all things new. That's a big affirmation, I know, but get the gist of it. And realize that the impulsive life is always about making things new. It's not held back by whatever's in the rearview mirror. It's just that we do that. So yeah, we're on the threshold of a brand new year, 2020, a brand new decade. And that's this year is 365 days of possibility. And I don't know about you, but every year about this time, that new year thing kicks in and it evokes the urge to make some resolutions and set some goals. But that passes, so don't worry about that. Have you noticed? In fact, sometimes now I just let it cross right through my mind and say, been there, done that. But we are going to make a fresh start. We're going to look at making a fresh start. And part of that is one very important thing that we have to do, and that is clear the way. Clear the way to make room for the new experiences that we desire, for all the possibilities, for all the promise and the intentions that we have for the new year. For those to manifest, our part is to start to make room for those. Example, have you ever gotten something new? Probably got a couple of things, maybe for Christmas, or maybe you went out and you bought something someone gave you something, and you go home to put it in its place so you can use it, and you find to your dismay you don't have any room. The shelves are full, the fridge is full, the car is full, wherever it's supposed to go. Your bookshelves are full, and where am I going to put it? And of course, at that point, you realize that you have to get rid of something to make room for the new, but that is not always an easy choice to make. I don't know, again, maybe I'm the only one, but I want my new stuff, but that doesn't mean I want to get rid of my old stuff. I just kind of want to have it all and just keep adding on and not have to choose to get rid of or to let go of some of the old, familiar stuff. So you know where I'm going with this. There is that spiritual truth that says, "Behold, I make all things new." And what that means, actually what that's referring to, is how life works. The nature, the impulse of life is always to create, always create something new. Rearrange things, but it's always a new arrangement. You look at nature as a perfect example of that, creating constantly. And this is encouraging, and here's why it's encouraging to us, not as a detached sort of example, but here's the deal. We're part of that life process. And so when I decide to change something, like to create space for something new, it turns out that the very life force is on my side. Life is always impelling me forward. And when I get into alignment with that force, I'm not alone. There's a momentum that helps me. It's just that decision part that keeps me, I get kind of stuck. But as soon as I've said, okay, I don't know where it's going to go, how it's going to turn out, but I'm willing. I'm willing to let go of what's not been serving me, and I'm willing to allow myself to move forward. And then life kicks in so many ways. Energy, ideas, coincidences, resources, people, things you could never even have imagined. Dr. Ernest Holmes, who is the architect of our philosophy of science of mind, said this: limitless creativity exists and expresses through all that is. There is a divine strength and an infinite wisdom at the center of your being. Not out there, but at the center of your being. And it is always seeking a fuller channel of expression through you. And this means, he says, that there is always the promise of greater possibility available to you and to me. We already have that. Everything just cheering us on. What he's saying is the innate impulse of life to create, the creative energy of life is behind you, supporting you all the way. So in view of this amazing truth, why in the world would we hang on to the old stuff that doesn't serve us? We might say, yeah, I know there are things that do not serve me anymore. Well, for one thing, here's why we sort of stay in that limbo. A lot of times we don't even recognize those things because they're so familiar. And sometimes, even though they're not helping us anymore, they're rather comfortable in an odd sort of way. You know, the familiar, the comfortable. But that attachment that we have to that old can truly hold us back from receiving the very things that we desire. We say we desire them, and yet there's something in us that we're hanging on to. So today, in setting the tone for the new year and to be open to the possibilities that are there for us, we're going to take a look at recognizing and clearing out and releasing at least some of the stuff, maybe even just one thing, to make room for all the new that's waiting for us. Now, I've noticed that whenever I'm thinking about this kind of a process, or when people in general do say, roll up my sleeves and it's a new year and I'm going to make some changes, it goes to, our thoughts immediately go to changing a behavior. I'm going to go on a diet. I'm going to start to exercise. You know, ever done that? Nobody but me? Yeah. I'm going to be nicer. I'm going to establish more of a healthy routine, you know, all that stuff. Behaviors, actions. That's where we go, and that's usually what the list of resolutions is all about. But the truth is that those behaviors don't really change unless the stories and beliefs that energize them are changed. I mean, how many times have we started with the intention to do certain things differently, and, anywhere from a week to maybe a couple of months, and we're kind of back in the old routine again, in spite of our most disciplined efforts. It's because the stories and beliefs behind those actions, those behaviors, have not really changed. So today, our practice that we're going to be talking about and then doing is not about getting rid of behaviors or changing behaviors, but rather taking a look at replacing the beliefs or the stories that are behind those behaviors that we would like to see be different. Those stories and beliefs that we've unwittingly allowed to become embedded in our being as habits, and sometimes even they define us. Sometimes those beliefs about ourselves and the stories that nourish those beliefs or energize those beliefs become our identity. As much as we would say, "Oh, no, that's not me," but that's what happens. And often, too, I've noticed these behaviors that, again, come from those stories become automatic responses. We get a trigger. Immediately, the way we respond to anything in our life, an opportunity, a good thing, a bad thing maybe, but whatever it is, those stories and those beliefs immediately kick in. So that's where we want to look at making some changes. For example, simple thing, you have an opportunity to do something wonderful. Now, in every one of us, it would be something different. It could be to go on a big adventure, a travel thing, to invent something, to create something, to meet someone, to be part of a new group, whatever it might be. But we haven't, all of a sudden, there's the opportunity. And we have this immediate sense of, well, yeah, I'm all in. And we even anticipate it really excitedly. And then not long after that, it could be in a nanosecond, something stops us. The thoughts that are rooted in our old story, our resulting beliefs about ourselves. Stuff like, well, yeah, but what was I thinking? What if I fail? What if they don't like me? What if I don't have enough of what it would take? Others are so much better than me. I don't want to look too cocky or too childish, or, something immediately kicks in and pulls us back, kind of cold water on that whole enthusiastic, I have an opportunity to do something new. That's what I'm talking about. There's something there, and in a million years we would never say, I'm going to do that consciously. I am going to stop myself from something wonderful very intentionally by saying, no, I can't do it because I'm not good enough. That's not our conscious intention at all. But it is beneath the surface there. And habits, as you may have noticed, are not that easy to change, especially when they're bolstered by a forgotten story that still is very active at the subconscious level. And of course, the only way we can change things at the subconscious level is to start at the conscious level, start with how we're thinking in our conscious mind. I think those stories that don't serve us, that are behind all the other ways that things show up that don't serve us, is basically two things. I'm not enough, and there is not enough. If you think about anything that kicks in and gets in the way of you moving ahead in whatever you want to do in your life or your day, if something kicks in and stops you, I'll bet you anything, if you just go back a little bit, you'll say, there it is. I don't think I'm enough, or there is not enough of whatever. Love, money, resources, opportunities, you name it. So, by the end of today's time together, it is my hope that you will have created at least an opening to be willing to release at least one thing, one belief, one idea, one story that's in the way of your experiencing your greater good this year. I'm not asking for you to just erase it all and, just pretend it never existed, because I don't think that's the way it works. But I am hoping that by the end of today you will have opened up to at least a willingness, because it's a very safe thing. It can feel not safe, but it is very safe because life supports you when you decide to let go of something, some idea about you, about life that is not serving you. I love that song, as Bob sang, Hand It Over. And as I said, he makes it sound so easy. But here are 3 things about the practice of releasing, as we're going to be doing, releasing that which doesn't serve us. 3 things about that which, maybe isn't quite so easy. It's simple, let's say that, but it's not so easy. The first thing is it may not feel like much of a relief at first. Sometimes we think, at last I'm going to release this thing that's been in the way of my good, and then we kind of go in that direction, and it does not feel so much like a relief at first. And that's okay, because, again, that's about releasing an old habit, a habitual way of responding to life, and it's something that's been familiar, and something that's kind of become who we think we are. And those habits don't let go so easily. Here's an example. Which is easier for you to do? To say, at any moment, at any time, and all day long, I am really good. I am terrific. Or, well, I don't know if I am all that good. I probably can't make it through this thing. They're better than me. I would guess that, we all would love to say, I'm there. I start every day by saying, I am on top of it, and I'm good. But truth be told, I think there's a lot of that kicks in right away that seems almost more familiar to say, come on, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Let's just calm down here. Maybe you're not so good. Maybe you'll make it through the day. Maybe you'll make it through the project. That's what I'm talking about, that kind of knee-jerk reaction that we have, because it's a habit. This is a story, and it's a habit that's buried deep inside there. So the reason I just point that out is to just say, so when you're setting the intention to release something that's not working for you anymore, it's going to be a little uncomfortable. Might feel, be a little difficult. But that's okay, because you've started with the intention. And, it just baffles me about myself sometimes when I say, look, you want this to be the case, and yet here you are stuck in this story. But you want this, and you know better, but you keep reacting with this story. It's just baffling sometimes. But I have noticed that I have changed over the years, as with this practice. I find that gradually it does shift. And I'm still a work in progress. Okay, the second thing about releasing is that it may be simply a matter of seeing something differently or seeing yourself differently, which means it's not, again, as I said, not about letting go of a behavior or an action, as it is about letting go of the meaning that you're giving it and finding new meaning or assigning new meaning. So here's what I mean. Something in your life may not have worked out as you thought it should or could or would. And when it didn't, that story immediately that kicked in was self-doubt about yourself, about being inadequate, maybe even not lovable, not capable. And that's a story that we just, it can get into a loop. Well, it's time, whenever we're ready, to release that story and give that, whatever happened, new meaning. It isn't to pretend that it didn't happen. Just give it new meaning. Change your perspective. Change how we see that and how we see ourselves. So now the new story about whatever it is that didn't work out the way you wanted it to or thought it should is, oh, wow, that was a blessing after all, because now I have all kinds of new opportunities. I don't know what they all are yet, but I'm ready for the new. And you can gradually get a new perspective which undoes that loop of that old story that doesn't serve us. It keeps us stuck in a place where we can't be open to all the good that life has for us. Someone wise, here's about changing perspective. Someone wise used this example. You have those stones there that we're going to be using a little bit later. So you could just imagine, or you could even do this with your stone, but here's about perspective. If you took that stone and you held it right close up to your eye, right up here, that would be all you could see, right? You wouldn't be able to see anything else because your perspective would be blinded by holding that up in your face. Just like we do with our story. We do that. We hold our story right up there, and we can't see all the options. All right, then you take that stone and you hold it out here. Now you got it in perspective. You can see some other stuff around. And you can see the stone, you can see your story, but you can see some other things around. And then, if you put that stone down by your feet on the path, like if you put your story down on the path, wow, it's just one small bump in the way, on the pathway of your evolution. That's perspective. And that's one of the ways we can adjust and release what is in the way. Are we holding it way up in our face? Are we willing to step back a little bit and give it a little more perspective? Third thing about releasing, it rarely happens instantly. It is not like an instant amputation. It's all over, done. I'm done with that, never going to do it again, never going to think it again. I don't know if I've tried that, but it doesn't work for me because I don't think that's the way we're wired. It is about setting an intention, and intentions are so powerful. Just being willing to be willing just a little bit. Oh, I can do that. And then a little more. Willing to let go of my story. Willing to create a space for something new. And it is gradual. But with practice, just as with any spiritual principles that we're talking about here all the time, with practice, we find there's a shift. And we wake up one day and we say, wow, I have changed. Things do look different. Not because they're different, but because I'm different. And of course, then eventually, the outer becomes different too. Now, one more thing about this. When we're releasing, when we're setting aside those things that do not serve us, I want you to remember this is not about rejecting or maligning anything about you, about yourself. This is not about beating yourself up and saying, all right, I shouldn't have ever believed that. I shouldn't have ever told myself that story. How bad am I? No. That would not be a very loving thing to do, would it? So instead, it's about a process of loving and embracing the whole you, the entire you, exchanging the old for the new that's waiting for you. Now, I'm going to pause at this point, and Jaron is going to sing a wonderful song that will bring us into that place of letting go in a beautiful way. It's a song by Karen Drucker, and it's called Let Go of the Shore. How many times have we been all excited about making changes, but the river's going, but we're hanging on for dear life to the shore? Listen to the words, and if you like, close your eyes as you're listening, but let those words be your words.
Let go of the shore, let the
of sales and fame, and trust you will arrive. Oh, let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery, float into the mystery, float into the
Thank you, Jaron. That's what I'm talking about. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. And sometimes it is like a mystery. But you can trust it. So now I invite you to take your stone in your hand. Is there anyone who did not get a stone when you came in? Harry, do you have some stones there for people? Let's see. Okay. And I invite you to just close your eyes if you're comfortable doing that, and hold your stone gently. And we're closing our outer eyes just so our inner eyes can see more clearly. Just breathe in a very relaxed way. And let your breathing create a pathway to your heart, feeling your heart opening. And invite your inner wisdom, God in you, to guide you through these next sacred moments, to show you what is yours to know today. And now, in your inner mind's eye, see yourself standing on the threshold of an open door to 2020. The door is wide open as you stand looking through that door into the 365 days ahead. What do you see? And what do you feel? And as you look ahead into this new year, what is your heart's desire as you contemplate walking through that door? What quality of experience do you want to have in your life this coming year? In your body, your finances, maybe your relationships, your career, your creative expression. You want more ease, more balance, maybe more joy, more love, confidence, harmony, creativity, fun, you name it. What quality of experience would you like to have this coming year through whatever you're doing? And now, with your eyes still closed, consider this, that the chances are this is not the first time you have felt this desire. But it hasn't manifested or hasn't manifested fully. What's in the way? What seems to keep you stuck? What is your habitual story, your belief behind that story? What is that belief that if you could be free of it, there would be nothing stopping you? If only I wouldn't keep telling myself this story about myself. Now, can you distill that belief into a word or two, maybe a brief phrase? It could be a word like fear, struggle, or there's not enough, I don't know how. Maybe I'm not deserving, or I'm not strong or intelligent or creative enough. So you've done two important things here. You've peeked into the new year and what you desire, and you've considered what is in the way. And so with your eyes still closed, as you're holding your stone in your hands, feeling its texture, its shape, its weight, just hold it lightly, but let the stone represent whatever came to your awareness as being in the way. That is, that which you are willing to release today. Let that stone represent your fear or your struggle, your doubt, frustration, pain. And as you're breathing with every exhale, just exhale the old, the heavy, the burden, the tightness, the hurt, the struggle, the doubt, the fear, whatever it is, into that stone. Let the stone be a magnet, symbolically absorbing that which has blocked you or burdened you. Just exhaling the old heaviness into that stone. And then with every inhale, breathe in the freshness, the lightness, the renewal, the freedom, the aliveness, the relief of knowing that you are enough and there is always enough. Exhaling the old and inhaling the new. And now you can open your eyes and come back to the room for a moment and join me in what we're going to be doing next. In a moment, I'm going to invite you to come to the table. It's optional. It's entirely up to you. Nobody's going to be taking attendance here. But I'm going to invite you to come up to the table and place your stone in one of the two bowls of water. And remember, when you're releasing something, you're not making it disappear. Just like the stone, it's not going to magically disappear. But we're putting it into the water. And what does that symbolize? The bowls of water symbolize spirit, God, the infinite, a clear, a healing substance. And so what you're doing is symbolically immersing your issue, whatever it is, your story, into the healing essence of spirit, of God, by whatever you want to call God. In a way, you are handing it over to spirit. And that's where the healing begins. That's the healing essence that starts to happen. So when you come to the table, I'd like you to do three things. First of all, just pause for a moment and silently affirm, I bless and release my, and whatever in your mind, this is silent, I bless and release my fear or my struggle or my anger. Whatever it is that you feel that stone can symbolize for you today. I bless and release it. And then place it in the water. That's the second thing. And the third thing is you're going to pick up one of these little cards in the last table. We call them angel cards. And the reason for those is because we never want to create a vacuum. I mean, nature will always fill the vacuum, so we want to fill it with something good, don't we? So you've started the process of releasing that which is not serving you. And when you pick up that angel card, it gives you something to put in that place where that emptiness of releasing that story might be. And I'm going to talk just a moment about the angel cards after you've done this process, and when we're back in our seats, we'll wrap it up, and I'll tell you a little bit more about what to do with that little one-word angel card. So again, if you're comfortable doing that, just come up to the table. Jaron and I will be there, and pause. I bless and release and whatever you've assigned to that stone, put it in the water, and just take your time, and then take an angel card and then go back to your seat. Okay, Bob, you could. I forgot to get a stone for myself. Did you get one for you? Do you have one? Did you? So I said that we always want to fill the vacuum with something new and positive. So that's the purpose of the angel card. Now, whatever that one-word quality is on that card, of course, you didn't know why you drew the one you did. Don't overthink it. Don't overanalyze it. Just let it speak to you. Not just today, but keep it where you can see it all year long. And it'll be amazing how you'll see the quality that's on that card starting to show up in your life, and very often very closely related to what you released. It's not magic. It's not woo-woo. We didn't infuse them with any kind of magical powers. But that's just the way life works. There's a truth in us, that sometimes we have to let go of the analytical part of our mind and just allow something else to bring it to the surface. And I can't tell you how many times that has been a real blessing for me as I pick my angel card and I say, huh? And I leave it and I set it aside and I look at the course of the year and how that quality starts to show up, to open me up to something different, something in place of that old story. So just know you're not alone. And in conclusion with all this, I want to share with you what Dr. Holmes said again about what we can take with us into the new year. He said, let us no longer fight the old. You remember, everything we did was not about fighting or resisting the old. It was about releasing it to spirit. He said, let us no longer fight the old. Let us release the past and live in the eternal present of God's happy smile. And that is, as Bob's going to sing for us now, that is really saying yes, a big yes to life itself. Namaste.
Yes, yes, tonight I'm saying yes, 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 tonight I'm saying yes, 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 tonight I'm saying yes, 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 yes to life, yes to life I'm saying yes, yes, yes to life. The spirit of love within me is expressing itself right now. The spirit of joy within me is expressing itself right now. What you gonna create today? Universe is ready to play. The spirit sure to believe the way if you just say yes. Saying yes, yes, yes to life. I'm saying yes, yes, yes to life. I'm saying yes, yes, yes to life. I'm saying yes, 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 yes to life, yes to life. I'm saying yes, yes, yes to life. The spirit of life within me is expressing itself right now. The spirit of light within me is expressing itself right now. Now whatsoever you can conceive, if you believe that you can achieve, the universe will always agree if you just say yes. I'm saying yes, yes, yes to life. I'm saying yes, yes, yes to life. I'm saying yes, yes, yes to life. I'm saying yes, 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 yes.
Thank you, Bob. That says it all.
Thank you so much, Bob. Love that song, and I love the way he does it, and what a great message. Now is the time for our offering, which is another opportunity to say yes to life. It's an opportunity to give, and we know that as we give, it returns to us. We want to thank you for your generous financial support of this ministry. I invite you to now take your gift in your hand and place it over your heart, blessing it as you share it, and know with me, my gift goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper, and the divine flow returns it to me, multiplied abundantly. Altogether, repeat after me. I give thanks.
I give thanks
that I may share.
That I may share
Of my good.
My good.
My love.
My love.
And my support.
My support. And I give thanks for you. All this year you've been so supportive, and you are a blessing. So let's sing, I am so blessed.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And as Harry brings these gifts forward, I know that we are blessed, and our giving increases our blessing. For that which we send out returns to us. It truly does. And so I bless these gifts now as they go on their way to do their good work in our community and in the entire world. And so be it. Thank you again for being here with us this morning. I really hope it was a meaningful experience for you. I know it was for me. I want to remind you to stay with us, join us after for coffee and conversation. And also, I am available if anyone should want to meet with me for one-on-one prayer support for a few moments. Now, please join me in standing as we sing our closing song, Let There Be Peace on Earth.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be with God our Creator. We are family. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow to take each moment and live each moment with peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth.